Sweet.
Okay, it looks like Christine has joined us. Hi, Christine. We're going to wait for some others. We had 16 people registered, so we'll see who is here today. So let's just give people a couple more minutes to come in here. Okay, great. Hello, it looks like Carrie and Julie have also joined us. Welcome. Going to give a minute or two to let some others join us. We had some more registered today, so we'll just see who joins us. Okay, well, I think I am just going to get started with introducing myself and saying a couple of words about Oregon Shores while we wait for others to join us today. And then we'll let Estrella take it away for the rest of the hour. Greetings, my name is Jessie Jones, and I am the Coast Watch Programs Manager at Oregon Shores Conservation Coalition. Coast Watch is a mile-by-mile beach adoption program. We work with individuals, families, schools, and so much more, businesses, churches, others, to learn how to care and act about issues on the Oregon coast by getting really familiar with 1 mile of the Oregon coast and filing observations and submitting reports for what they see on those miles, what they observe, the changes that they see over time. So on our website, you can see a number of you can see all of our Coast Watch reports starting in 2010. Pre-2010, we've existed since 1993 as a program of Oregon Shores. And currently we are doing a fairly large project to analyze all of our information that volunteers have been providing for the last more than 30 years. So that's an exciting project. We'll give more meaning to the kinds of information that we're collecting and what that means for the Oregon coast. So there are some exciting changes coming forward. Today, I have with me Estrella Valdez, who works with Solve. She is their coastal project manager. And I wanted to talk to Estrella about the Solve program. Oregon Shores and Coast Watch we work together. We're a partner with the Solve program. We encourage our volunteers to start Solve projects, to join Solve cleanup projects. And Solve has been around for a very long time as well, just like we have. And they're going through some new fun changes too. And so I just wanted to sort of bring that information, let people meet Estrella, who is on the coast sometimes as well, for these events, and just have her talk about it. This will be, after Estrella gives some information, we can open this up for questions and talk about anything you want to talk about, and about with Solve. So again, Estrella Valdez is Solve's coastal project manager. She's based in Portland. And I don't know how long she's been with Solve, but she's going to let you know. She's fairly new. But she loves to hike. She loves to be on the Oregon coast. She loves to be near water. Those are all great things to have. Solve works around the state, not just on the coast. But Solve is Estrella is their coastal person. So Estrella, welcome, welcome, and welcome everybody else. Thank you for being here today. And yeah, take it away, Estrella.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Estrella Valdez, and I've been with Sol for about 2 years now. And right now, my main work is along the coast. Prior to that, I was hosting projects in Portland, and I'm still continuing to do that. But I was working with leaders in the Portland Metro, and now I am working with coastal volunteers and coastal leaders, which is really exciting. I've had the opportunity to get to know the coast more and just get to know all of the different regions and all of the different leaders that host projects. Oftentimes, we have people who have been hosting projects for many, many years and who love and care for their beaches. So I'm excited to share more information. Again, thank you so much for joining today's training session and today's Zoom session, just to get to know a little bit more about the work that we do and how you can get involved. So thanks for joining. We'll go ahead and get started. So these are some things that we'll be going over today. So Sol's history, who we are, what we do, and really how can we support the work that you're doing, or how can we support you as an individual to get started on projects and to be able to attend projects as well. We'll also go over some annual projects that we host, our Beach and Riverside Cleanup that's actually taking place upcoming here at the end of the month, along with our Oregon Spring Cleanup, our Afterglow post 4th of July cleanups that take place, and then some different programs that we offer for coastal leaders. So yeah, our history, we've been around for a really long time, and we've hosted projects all throughout the state of Oregon and Washington. We mobilize thousands of volunteers every year to be able to foster community and environmental stewardship across Oregon and Southwest Washington. We support leaders in hosting projects, whether that be hosting a large project and getting people out from the community. And now we've started to work on solo DIY projects. This is something that we just recently brought out as an opportunity for people to be able to get involved in a way where they're able to send in supply information. So you'll get a litter grabber, a bucket, or a bag, and we ship that out to you so that way you can get started. So we have different options for being able to support people. The type of projects that we typically do are neighborhood litter cleanups, invasive species removal, and beach and river cleanups that take place all throughout the year. You can check out our calendar where we have projects. Typically, we have projects going on most days. Weekends are very popular for projects. The calendar is a great way to be able to find those events that are taking place. So the support that we can offer for event leaders, we want to make it as accessible for people to be able to host projects. So the things that I have to be able to host my projects through work are supplies that we'll need, helping with disposal, property permission, any type of support that you need with creating your event page. All of the things that I'm able to utilize, we want to make that easy for our volunteers and for our leaders to be able to also have accessibility to. So we're able to help with cleanup supplies. So if you need disposable vests and gloves, we can help with that, bags. And then we also can connect you with the nearby supply hub. That's something that we are currently working on for coastal leaders, is to be able to have different supply hubs throughout the coast. So that way people can go and pick up supplies there versus ordering them and then them being shipped. So if you're near a supply hub, it's easy to be able to go and pick up supplies. We also help with project funds. So let's say you're hosting a beach cleanup and you want to get some additional supplies, maybe some sifter-like items. We are able to help with project funds, so that way you can be able to purchase those items for your events. And then we also help with disposal assistance as well. So if you're hosting a big community cleanup, where's the trash going to go after the project? If you're working with local businesses, or if you're needing help getting a plan in place, we're more than happy to support with that. And then alongside that is being able to get the word out about your projects. So we typically post events online. We have a calendar view where people can find projects, but we also post them in our monthly newsletters that we send out, along with social media. So if you're wanting to host a community event or you're a part of an organization, this is a really good way to be able to get that volunteer recruitment. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about our annual projects that we have. We do host our Beach and Riverside Cleanup. Our upcoming project is going to be at the end of this month from the 20th to the 28th. It aligns with International Coastal Cleanup Day on the 21st, and it'll end on National Public Lands Day. So we have, I want to say, about 60, going on 70 projects that are taking place across the state of Oregon. And we have anywhere from community cleanups that are happening here in Portland to beach cleanups that are happening in Rockaway. So definitely a good way to get involved and to be able to be a part of something bigger. There's a big movement that has been around this for many years. And so this is another opportunity to be able to get involved in that. Alongside that, we host our Oregon Spring Cleanup. This is one of the largest events that we host every single year. Our upcoming cleanup is going to be taking place on the 19th. We have kickoffs happening on the 12th, and then our large annual event will be on the 19th, and it'll end on the 22nd. And for those projects, we typically see a good amount of people come out to these events. And sometimes, too, with these projects, oftentimes people, when they were younger, they started off participating in these through beach cleanups or through community cleanups. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to volunteers, and I ask, like, how did you get started or how did you hear about Solve? It's really great to hear stories about how they've started out going to these projects through the beach cleanups with their family when they were younger. Um, and these projects are similar, again, just litter cleanups that are happening, restoration projects, beach cleanups that are happening. Um, we also have our Afterglow post 4th of July cleanups that take place. Typically, they take place on the 5th and the 6th. And this is helping with the festivities that were taking place on July 4th. So we team up with event leaders down the coast to be able to restore those. A lot of times, because fireworks are happening at night, we're not seeing all of the trash that's being left behind, all of the fireworks that are left being behind. And so the following morning, when you go out onto the beach, you're surprised by all of these items that are there. So we're happy to have these projects to be able to restore those areas and to be able to get these items off and instead of going into our waterways. So some of the projects that we do help with, we do Adopt a Beach, and we have the DIY projects that we were talking about earlier. Our Oregon Adopt a Beach, you're able to make a big impact. So let's say you already are cleaning up Rockaway Beach, or you have a beach that you're passionate about that you've already been cleaning up. This is a good opportunity to be able to adopt this beach and this section of the beach. What happens with this is you're able to do a commitment for 2 years to be able to clean up your beach. And what we do is we're able to provide funds so that way you can host if you need to buy anything for it. We also offer a certificate of adoption that we mail out to you, and then we give recognition on our Solve website. So from here, I'll just go ahead and show you what that's looking like on our Solve site. So are you still able to see my screen, Jesse?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Great. So yeah, this is what our Solve webpage looks like. And this is our Adopt a Beach program. Here it gives a little bit more information on the commitment, the things that we're able to provide. So we provide news releases. We help with recruiting volunteers if you need. And then your certificate of adoption along with funds for project expenses. So you'll click Get Started here if you'd like to register, and it'll ask questions for what county you reside in, if you live on the coast, and then information so that way we can make sure to get your certificate sent over to you. If you continue to scroll down on the site, you can see all of the people who adopted beaches. And so this is here, if you click in, you're able to see folks who are adopting and what beach they're adopting. So the process is super simple to get started with this. And from here, I do want to talk a little bit more about our DIY projects. So this is something new that we have just recently put out as an opportunity for people to be able to get started on hosting projects where if you're not wanting to host a community cleanup, you're just wanting to go out to the beach on a weekend, on a weekday, on your lunch break, and just pick up some trash. We want to make it as easy and accessible for that. So all you'll do from here is you'll just register. You can select on volunteer. We have our DIY cleanups page, and you'll be able to create an account first. And from creating an account, you'll be able to then fill out a form where you're able to just put in your first and last name. You'll be able to put your shipping address, and then we'll send you out a kit to be able to get started. And for these, we don't have any long-term commitments, no requirements. We'll be able to send you grant information as well if you need to help cover the cost of taking trash to the transfer station as well. Awesome. Well, let me also share some more information on our page. That way you can see where to go to be able to see the upcoming events that we have and learn a little bit more about the projects. So here's our calendar view, and from here you can see all projects that are happening. And then if you continue to scroll down, we have events that are taking place throughout the week. So again, we have our restoration projects, and then if we continue to scroll down to the 21st, when our Beach Riverside starts, you can start to see that we have a bunch of beach cleanups that are taking place. We've got Gold Beach, Rhodes End, Horse Falls, Yaquina Bay. So a bunch of different projects on here that you can get involved in. And these projects go from the 20th or the 21st all the way through the 28th. And then we have projects after as well that'll be taking place. I also want to show what an event page looks like as well. So that way, if you're interested in creating an event page and you're interested in hosting a community project, you can see what it'll look like on our site. So you can make flyers to be able to showcase these projects. You're able to add a description with as much information as you'd like on here, and then fill out the rest of this remaining information. And then from here, folks will be able to register for your projects. We also have a really cool feature where if you are, let's say you're wanting to find projects that are located near where you are, you can just enter that zip code, select find, and it'll showcase projects that are by, or if you're wanting to look for a specific place, you can do it that way as well. And it'll show you the projects that are happening. So this is a really good feature to use along the coast, or if you're located here in Portland as well. And then from here, you can also see our Adopt a River program, our Adopt a Beach program, and how you can register for there as well. On here, we also have our Afterglow, and this is updated with more information. So as we get closer to next year's cleanup, you'll start to see more information on here. And then our current beach and riverside projects that are happening. We also have a really cool map view to be able to see all the projects that are happening during that time. Awesome. Does anybody have any general questions that I can help with?
Yes, there was a question from Christine. She says, I miss the collaboration between Solve and Oregon State Parks for twice annual beach cleanups along the entire coast. Why has this program ended? Any chance it will be reinstituted?
That's a good question. So we do work with OPRD. We actually work with them a lot, especially when it comes to our annual projects that we host. So like the Beach and Riverside Cleanup, we work with them on getting property permission. So we are still working with them on projects, just in a different capacity. I don't think as much with rangers, but we are still actively out there and working with them.
Yeah, and I know that that depending on where you are, some rangers really do help out a lot. It's like management unit to management unit changes on the Oregon coast. It's interesting. And so there are just some rangers who are much more into being a part of things, bringing a truck along, helping out. It just really depends on their capacity. And
Mhm.
I know that since a lot changed in 2020, not just because of well, a lot of it was because of the pandemic, but a lot of staffing changes happened at OPRD. And it changed like a lot of things that they were doing, like including like interpretive programs. They're just not doing yet. So there's a lot that has changed, but they're trying to get back to some of the semblance that they had before the pandemic, but they're also making a lot of changes there also.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're definitely a big part of the work that we do, especially when it comes to the coast, and just being able to work with them on getting property permission or reaching out about
yeah.
specific questions. So typically we do reach out to the rangers and yeah, they're a big part of this program work that we're doing right now.
They are, and they also help like store some items like buckets and bags and that type of a thing. So they can be an important conduit to the public for helping the public have access to the kinds of things that they need.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, I love how many different ways that volunteers can get involved and also like really like set up their own project. That page that you showed, Estrella, with the snowy plovers for the silt coos cleanup, is that something that a volunteer created for them? Like that was their volunteer led project for that day, September 28th?
Yeah, so that's a project. Yeah, they've created that, and that's a really cool feature about using the website is you're able to go in and really spice up the event page, like make it your own, because you're recruiting volunteers. So you're able to make your flyers, you're able to add links in your description. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can spice up those event pages to get
That's
some
so
volunteers.
cool. So you could add your own photos and all of that. So do you have to be a graphic design person in order to do that?
No, I actually started doing it through Canva, and that's where I started using, like, different ways of, like, flyers or photos, being able to use those resources that are out there already, creating an account, and then being able to make a flyer to be able to post and help promote.
That's really exciting because I know that we've had a lot of volunteers over the years who want to start their own cleanup, and I've always encouraged them to do so. We, as my job, we really focus on community science. So a lot of organizations have their own things that they do. And Oregon Shores wasn't ever like a cleanup organization. It was more of an observation organization, like, kind of a watchdog group. And then we started doing a lot of community science, but it was more of a watchdog group, like, is there erosion happening? Is there illegal development happening? Like unpermitted development? Like and are there, a number of dead birds on the beach, that type of a thing. But I love that Solve is there um, to support uh, Oregon Shores volunteers and all kinds of volunteers on the coast to do their own. And what you're doing is you're making it even easier by like supporting them. Hey, have a flyer, have your own website. Here's some supplies that you might need. So I'm
Wow.
really grateful for that. It's just awesome. So we have another question. Hi, Carrie from Washtenaw Shore. Hey, Washtenaw Shore. Interested in being a supply hub for the Southern Oregon coast if you need support down here. We get tons of requests for beach cleanup support. Want to explore how we can work with you all to support these efforts. We have some supplies we loan out to groups.
Yeah, thank you so much, Curry, and we're still I think right now we have 5 that we have along share this information with my colleague who's putting together the supply hubs and definitely let them know that people are interested in hosting projects out there and see what we can do. Can you pop in your email? That way I can have somebody contact you.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you're here. Awesome. I know that people have asked over the years, about Solve's bags, and people would like to know if they can use their own bags. Can they not receive plastic bags if they don't want to? Can they not receive buckets if they don't want to? Are there alternative ways that they can use to take their trash off the beach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, so we offer typically when we're shipping out supplies, we do ship out the plastic bags because it is easier to get those to you. But let's say you don't want to use your plastic bags, you want to use a bucket, you can always apply for the grants that we offer and be able to go that route. But we also recommend people calling maybe like the local coffee shop and using bags that they've had for like the coffee beans. That's something that we also incorporate into our work here in Portland. We work with different breweries and we use grain bags as well as an alternate to be able to collect trash and give it a second life. And then we also have buckets as well. So definitely a bunch of options. And it's just up to you on how you want to go about picking up trash.
Yeah. Um, I I've been working with Solve a little bit over the last couple of years. I think maybe we started before you even got here, Estrella, but we had an idea and created a document, actually more of a sheet, for that very reason, so that we could have a list available of breweries. So
Mhm.
breweries, the grain bags are giant.
Mhm.
They're big. They're like as big as the big Solve bags. And they're made of like woven plastic, but at least we're reusing them. And so those ones are great. And people also like what you mentioned, there are burlap sacks
Mhm.
also that coffee beans come in. And there are so many of those that even if you just use them once, you still reuse them and then you can throw them away. And there are just so many more of those. Um, but of course, a lot of people have their own buckets, their own bags at home. Like you can use whatever you want when you volunteer with Solve. You don't have to use a Solve bag to help to be an asset to Solve and to the Oregon coast.
Yeah.
So use what you can, and then you can contact Estrella if you really need something. I know that the hubs have buckets now too, right?
Hubs have buckets. So yeah, if you're wanting to pick up supplies for a community cleanup that you're hosting, I think right now each hub has 20, I believe 20, could be 25 supplies there. So they have vests, they have the gloves that you'll be able to check out and then you'll just bring back after.
Okay, so bring back to the hub. So that includes, excuse me, bringing back the vests.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
typically will wash the vest and gloves and then we reuse them for different projects. But if, let's say, we're shipping out to you, we don't want you to have to worry about shipping those items back to us. So we'll send disposable vest and gloves for people to be able to use that way. And then you can keep them. And then if you want to reuse them, you can.
Okay. That's great. Good to know. It's good to have a vest. I don't know if I've ever seen a disposable vest, but it's great to have a vest, especially if you're a leader, a team leader, so that people know that you're the one to go to, that you're the important person leading the event. I also wanted to add for the coast watchers that are here, uh, we I love to let our volunteers know if you are doing a cleanup yourself. So Solve does a great job of trying to get other people to join your cleanups if you want it to be a public cleanup. But another thing that we can do here is if I know that you're doing one with Solve, then I can let, our county list know that, hey, Carrie's doing a cleanup on this mile. So uh, I'm happy to do that as well. And it's a great way to meet people, to
Mhm.
meet other coast watchers. Um, and yeah, I want to say too, I'm a big coastal cleanup person. I love getting out there, but it's so much more fun when there are people with you. And there's a
Mhm.
sort of bond that happens when you spend time with other people picking up trash. It's like not everybody likes to do it, but when you get together with those people that are maybe they don't like to do it, but they're passionate about it and they have to do it because they need to be doing something to help
Mhm.
our beaches. So it's a real bonding experience. I've made some actual lifelong friends around cleaning up the beach. It's true.
Mhm.
Um, Something else that I wanted to state as well is that a lot of us are very aware that, you know, that cleaning up the beach is only one way to really help make a dent in what is happening. in 1984, was it? Is that when Solve started? That plague of plastics slide that you had up there,
Mhm.
right? Like the world has changed so much
Yeah.
since then. I mean, it's and really, we have these conversations about picking up the beach, but I also want to state that we know that it is not our fault a lot of the time that our world is like this. We have, there's something called, turning off the tap, which is, the creation of all these plastic items in the first place really needs to be stopped. And so there are so many more conversations that can happen around the conversation and the dialogue that is cleaning up our rivers and beaches. And that is, turning off the tap, that is, you know, if there's some personal responsibility in making our choices, but we know that it is also overwhelming, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're on the beach.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
still, if we didn't do it, then we would have this mess. So we're all working together to make that happen. And I'm glad that Solve
Yeah,
is.
definitely. And that makes a great point too. I think outside of that, there's so many different ways that we can really just like get involved. And even just, I know when I first moved here, um, when it came to recycling, I have never had recycled prior to that. I had never, it's not something that I had been exposed to. And so when I moved here, it was definitely something that I had to learn and really have to be able to just like understand. And I felt like I would go online and I started to research ways on to be able to be more environmentally friendly. How could I shop reusable items or already use the items that I had at home, the containers that I had at home to be able to give and repurpose those items. So I think the first step is just really getting excited and learning more about how can we make the small impacts that we can make in our daily lives to be able to create that sustainable change.
That's right. And repurposing is one of my favorite things. I mean, it's amazing how much use you can get out of something,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it causes your brain to think in different ways. It causes you to be creative every single day,
Mhm.
and it makes life a little bit more interesting to
Yeah.
just, yeah, think about like those conveniences that really, they're really not that convenient. It's more interesting to, I know
Mhm.
that there's an ice cream out there called Talenti, and they have these awesome containers, and I reuse those all the time for everything, they're great. And no, I don't make my own ice cream yet. So I have a lot of Talenti containers, but also my godmother loves Talenti containers. She like wants me to send them to her, the empty ones, which is hilarious. Like, and then she comes to my house and steals all of them. So then I have to go buy more ice cream.
Not gonna lie, it does add an element of surprise because I do remember growing up, my grandma, she would actually reuse like the old contain like for butter. And so I'd open it and I'm like, is it gonna be butter today or is it gonna be soup? I don't know.
Right.
So that's a
Right.
nice element of surprise
That's
to
yeah.
reuse.
Right, exactly. And I think that people have been doing it for a very long time,
Mhm.
because there didn't used to be those great containers that you could buy at the store, I think Glad makes them. A lot of people make like just reusable containers. Like a lot of those didn't exist back in the day. But products did, and so you could reuse those. But it's been an interesting world that we live in,
Mhm.
and a fun one when we can reuse things and repurpose things, which is like when I think about the burlap bags for coffee, and
Mhm.
the spent grain bags for our breweries. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely fun. It's exciting. And that's something too, just on my journey of learning more about, the different ways to repurpose items. I've had an opportunity to get creative on how I want to do that and how I want to different ways to learn as well. Um, so I also wanted to talk a little bit about our volunteers. So if you are wanting to host projects in a group settings, we also offer trainings that happen every Tuesday. So one of the things that we want is for volunteers and for event leaders to feel confident when they're hosting their projects. So we work with leaders one-on-one to be able to go over trainings. We typically have these on Tuesdays where we go over how to create that event page, how to order supplies, how to get assistance with disposal. All of these questions we're able to guide you and walk with you on one-on-one for those projects. So if you're hosting community projects, we offer support. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're able to have something that you can refer back to. So once you create an account and apply to become an event leader, you have access to our volunteer portal, and that actually shows pre-day of. It has post-project tips. It has edible flyers that you can use. So there's a bunch of different resources on there as well. But I definitely want to make sure to highlight that when it comes to hosting your projects, or if you're wanting to get out there and do a DIY cleanup, we also offer support in those ways as well for those questions.
Estrella, will you please put your email into the chat so that people here can email you if they have any questions?
Yeah.
And I wanted to also point out that, again, and Estrella talked about this, but their Beach and Riverside cleanup is coming right up, September 20 through the 28th. So there are projects that you can join. Like she said, you can go to their website, type in your zip code, and see what is close to you. If you don't see something close to you and you want to start, it's a great way to be like, is there something around? And maybe I want to fill in a gap on the beach.
Mhm.
Or if you're not a coastal person, but you're here today, there's the Beach and Riverside cleanup, so near a river. I think that estuaries need cleanup. So um, check out that. So September 20th for 8 days, there will be a number of projects happening that are all on the Solve website. And then I also wanted to say that we partnered this year with Solve and with Surfrider on this Afterglow post 4th of July cleanup. And that has been a very interesting thing, because we're looking at not just cleaning up the beach, but really, like, Oregon Shores and Surfrider too, like, really doing a lot of outreach that it is actually illegal to set off fireworks on the beach. You would never know it, but it is against the law. But people do it anyway, and it's hard for Oregon State Parks and the police to enforce it because they just don't have the staff to do so. So education is also a part of preventing this horrible mess that we have every 5th of July. So I just wanted to state that as well. But if you are into thinking way ahead, it's just September now, but we want to have even more cleanups next year on the 5th and 6th of July. So if that's something that you're interested in as well. And, like we said, a lot of people also in Oregon, they do their own cleanups, and they've been doing their own cleanups without registering with Solve for decades. Like, I know people that do that. They're like, we don't need to register, and that's fine, because everyone is making a difference. You don't have to register with Solve to do your own cleanup, but they are a great resource. And some people do like to have the support of Solve to do those cleanups. And now you've met Estrella, who's this friendly face there to help you. And she's a big fan of what they're doing and how they're changing things to make it easier for people to do their own thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. The like you said, education is really important, and just finding different ways to be able to do that. But yeah, it just starts with just getting out there, attending an event just to kind of see what that is, and then you're able to build community and that make friendships, and get to know different people who are passionate about the things that you are also passionate about and enjoy.
Yeah. Christine raised her hand. So Christine, I'm going to allow you to talk if you would like, and asking you to unmute now. So you should be able to talk.
Now I'm unmuted, I think. Can you
There
hear
you
me?
go. Yeah. Hi.
I'm a Coast Watch volunteer, and I've been doing the spring and fall beach cleanups since 2008. And every time I walk my mile, I also pick up trash. I do have a relationship with the ranger at the Cape Lookout State Parks, and I just call him and give him the GPS locations of where I've left piles of trash, because I'm doing the Bay Ocean Spit, and it's too far often to carry things off the beach. They really need to bring a truck and pick things up. And I'm glad I've been able to, over the years, develop that relationship. But I am wondering if there's a way I can come by a Solve office and pick up additional trash bags. And I noticed that you have sieves for sifting out the smaller pieces of plastic. I wondered about getting those kind of supplies and whether or not they'd need to be returned, or whether I can have those available for whenever I go out for my beach visits.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's amazing that you've been active and out in that area. Thank you so much for your support and all the work that you're doing out there. Yeah, we definitely can offer more bags, but if you're wanting to do maybe like keep the sifters and just be able
Mhm,
to reuse them at your
mhm.
projects, you can apply for our grant. It's super, super
Okay,
simple, and I'd be happy to walk that with you along that if you'd like as well. But you can apply for it. It's up to $50, but you could buy sifters that way and then
okay.
just be able to keep them. Yeah.
That'd be great. I'm applying now for the DIY cleanup, since that's essentially what I've been doing for many years. So
Mhm.
I might as well formalize it.
Heck yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to reach out
Okay,
from there and we'll get you some help on getting some bags. But yeah,
wonderful.
you could either pick them up if you'd like to pick up bags, or we can ship them out to you. If you're doing it the DIY option, we'll just go ahead and ship them out to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Christine, thank you. You're awesome. Thanks for
Mm,
all that you
appreciate
do.
it.
And yeah, that relationship with the state parks and getting to know rangers is something that I encourage all Coast Watchers to do.
Mhm.
And you bring up a really good point. And when I first started this job in 2019, um, learning about like, okay, people are leaving bags and not contacting their rangers, and the rangers love to know, like, did you clean a beach? We want to know. So
Mm,
so that they can help pick that up. So thank you very much. And maybe you should, if you can put your email in the chat, and
will
then
do.
Estrella can get to you. Thank you,
Okay,
Christine. I'm glad you
yeah,
came.
you're welcome.
All right. Do we have any more questions? And Estrella, is there anything else that you want to share?
Just want to say thank you again for everybody who participated. It was great getting to talk a little bit more about the projects that we have and how you can get involved. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to help. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful fall and rest of summer.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And
Mhm.
thanks for all of you who came and stayed and provided your email. I think Estrella will get back to you. And Estrella, best of luck with the 20th through the 28th. I hope it goes really well. And yeah, thank you for doing this with us.
Of course, it's always awesome being able to talk a little bit more with you. Thank you so much, Jesse, for being able to provide this platform so that way we can share this information. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, you're really welcome. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Bye.